Hi there, everyone. I want to make sure you guys can hear me. I've not used Twitch before, so I just want to make sure you guys can hear. Hi, yay. Okay, cool. First try, I got it right. Awesome. Okie dokie. So, we are here today to talk about the amazing J-Fashion, Mori K. I've been to a few J-Fashion like events or like fanime, and I don't really see any Mori K panels. So I was so excited to be given the opportunity to do this with you guys because Mori K is so great and I love it so much, and I'm just excited to share it with you. So if you don't know who I am, my name is Madeline. You can find me at my Instagram, petite_Madeline. I use she, her pronouns. And I have been wearing Mori K for, I can't math, since about 2013, I believe. I found out about Mori K through Tumblr, so that was like my Tumblr days was in 2013. So I've been into it, how many, does that make it 7 years? I don't know. I do books, I don't do math. So yeah, let's get into our intro to Mori K. Oops. Let me actually get into the right screen here. There we go. Okay, so what is Mori K? The definition of it is a Japanese street fashion inspired by the look of a person who lives in a forest. It was started by a girl named Chako. She was part of a Japanese social media site called Mixi, where she posted a picture of an outfit that she was wearing, and she said, oh, it's supposed to be an outfit of a girl that lives in a forest. And it got a lot of popularity. She started her own like Mixi for Mori K, and she actually like literally wrote the book on Mori K. So this book here is the Mori Girl Fashion and Style book, and the picture is one of the pages in that book. You can see that's Chako, and she's just showing everyone what Mori K is, how to dress, all that kind of fun stuff. So some major inspirations for the fashion are things like fantasy and fairy tales. There is, for some reason, there's a very heavy influence of Scandinavian, like folk tales and things like that. But it is really just kind of like quirky, whimsical, people having kind of their own style, that kind of thing. So Chako did create a list of rules for Mori K. So there are 62 rules. It's a really long list, and of course I wasn't going to make you guys read the entire list. I just picked out some little key pieces that I really like from the list. So like you like loose-fitting dresses, you look natural but with your own style. It's a lot of layering. And then there is this aspect to Mori K of lifestyle. So like you like hanging out at cafes, you like to go around and take pictures. Autumn and winter are your favorite seasons, and of course that is because we wear so many layers. So being a person who wears Mori K during summer, like right now, is not fun, especially since we have a massive heat wave right now, and I'm wearing like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 layers. But that's just, yes, we love autumn and winter because then we can really bring out all of the layers that we love to wear, like Cat Bus here. All of those layers that they're wearing are just like amazing, but in summer is probably not a lot of fun. And it's important to remember that these rules that Chako has created are kind of more like guidelines. So, for example, she says that Mori K is about looking woodsy, but making it your own. So these rules are kind of just like, here's the basic silhouette, here's the basic color palettes and the basic patterns. Now go out and make it your own. So that's what's really great about Mori K. It has rules, but they're more like guidelines. So some key elements to remember from these rules are comfort, keeping the colors very natural, long loose layers. The lifestyle of Mori K is very important, and then again, to make it your own. So we can go into the Mori K closet. So again, it is about making it your own, but here are some like things that you can look for to kind of achieve a Mori look. Some basics include like long skirts and long dresses, tunics and smocks, comfortable shoes. The comfort, again, comfort is key, so you want some comfortable shoes. I really like boots. Boots are a staple, and like clog style shoes. I think that those are super comfy and super cute. Sorry, I'm gonna look over in the chat every once in a while. Yes, patchwork. I love patchwork. I have a patchwork skirt that I actually found at Goodwill, and I use it in Mori Kei all the time. It looks like a total granny skirt, but it works so well. So things like patchwork, gingham, lace, chambray, denim, plaid, like all of these patterns, polka dots. I'm not a big fan of polka dots, but I see a lot of polka dots. So it's kind of like looking for pieces that look vintage. So Mori people really like vintage inspired items. So that's why we find a lot of like eyelet lace or a lot of kind of like old style calico, like the small floral prints. And then you'll also see other nature themes. So for example, like deer prints or acorns, mushrooms. Every Mori person loves mushrooms. Mushroom everything. Bunnies, yes. Squirrels, basically anything that you would find in the woods. So like oak leaves, that kind of thing. And again, it's just whatever makes you feel comfortable and makes you feel whimsical. So it is as much about the feeling you get from the clothes as important as the way the clothes look. So there are lots of different people who wear Mori Kei, and it looks different based on who's wearing it. So if you scroll through like the Mori Kei tags on like Tumblr or Instagram, you can really see that it all falls into Mori Kei, but it's its own style. So again, that's one of the great things about Mori Kei, is that you can really make it personalized and make it your own. Also, when you're shopping, I like to look for things that have a really unique flair to it. So for example, this brown dress, it has like that asymmetrical like lace bit, which really gives it a lot of interest, texture, layers, and it kind of creates like this overlay effect that can kind of feel very fantasy. And that's why I think Mori people love lace so much, is because you can create all these textures and layers. So when I go shopping, I really like to look for lace items, or there is a lot of discussion of buying lace and then buying something that is not Mori and morifying it by adding lace to it. And that is a fun project to do. Okay. Oh, I wanted to add one last thing about the closet. Accessories. Accessories do tend to be very simple. Antique pieces like antique rings. You can see this clock necklace, the watch necklace. I have this little pendant that has like dandelion seeds inside of it. So there's generally not a whole ton of decoration going on. You're not going to have like a million necklaces and your hands covered in rings and bracelets, because it is really about being comfortable. So just like a simple pendant necklace, maybe a little bracelet. Lily of the Valley, I saw mentioned in here. She makes a lot of really cute acorn pieces, and I like to add brooches. So I have some of her little wooden brooches with, of course, a mushroom and a little deer. Yeah, so just anything antique, especially antique jewelry, is very sought after for Mori people. Okay, so now we can move on to the hair and makeup aspect. Sorry, it's a little laggy. Okay, so I want to start this out by saying that there is a like traditional Mori Kei hair, but you don't have to have this hair to be Mori K. So the traditional style is very natural colored, so like light browns, blondes, even like a natural like strawberry blonde red, and then it's generally a bob with bangs, and that was like the classic Mori girl hairstyle. You see also a lot of braids, so like some really interesting braiding going on, whether it's like, you know, those milkmaid braids, I love those, or just like this model in the top left corner with the really interesting like pulled apart braid. But again, it is really just about originally Mori Kei was about having very natural colored and textured hair, so like loose curls and things like that. However, people have really started expanding more on what the hairstyle should be like. So I've seen people with blue hair. Kappas for a while had silver hair, so they were the person in the previous slide with the silver hair and like the purple cord. And it looks so beautiful because it looks so like ethereal, so it does work. And then when we get into makeup, generally makeup-free looks are like the best because it is about being natural and being simple and comfortable. And again, I think that that's what makes Mori Kei so accessible, is that people who aren't confident with their makeup skills, or people who can't wear makeup because of their skin, or people who just don't like to, they can still wear this fashion. And that's something that is not seen in a lot of fashion communities. A lot of the time, makeup is an important part of a look, and it needs to be really over the top, or it needs to be really matching with the look. But in Mori Kei, you don't even have to wear makeup if you don't want to. If you want to, you can. So what I've noticed about Mori Kei makeup is it tends to be very heavily focused on the blush. Very like that Japanese street style, like high blush right underneath the eyes, or right under here across the nose. It kind of gives you that look of like you were just running through the forest, or you were like bathing in the sun in an open field. Fake freckles have been a popular thing that I've seen sometimes, but it is really just about having a natural look. So you can enhance your natural look with like blush and foundation and mascara. Like I could not do it with I could not do Mori Kei without makeup because my eyelashes are blonde. So when I don't wear mascara, I look like I have zero eyelashes. And it looks kind of off-putting. So I usually am at least wearing mascara and blush. But if you do want to go more of a whimsical route, I actually have a video on my Instagram, which I posted earlier I posted my Instagram earlier in the chat. Where if you go to my IGTV videos, I have like 3 or 4 different Mori Kei makeup styles that you can try, ranging anywhere from very natural and like almost not wearing any makeup at all the way up to like white eyelashes and like white freckles and like you're a snowy forest nymph. So you can check that out if you want some more ideas for some makeup. But again, it is Mori Kei is what you want it to be. It's about how you feel and feeling like you are a person in the forest. Okay, so next up we have, if it'll switch. There we go. Okay, so we have, there is the like Mori girl, which I tend to refer more to Mori people. And then there's like the Mori boy style. Oh, thank you. I worked really hard on this slideshow. It was a lot of fun. It was stressful, but it was fun. So I like to remind everyone all the time that clothing has no gender. We have Mori girl and we have boy style, and that's just what we call them. But in reality, anyone can wear these clothes. So if you like to wear skirts and dresses, you can wear skirts and dresses. If you prefer pants, you can wear pants. And you can wear pants in Mori Kei. So here are some examples of some coordinates using pants. And again, you just follow that same kind of feeling of being very foresty, kind of the natural colors, natural textures, creating some layers and some some more texture with like knits and corduroy and linen and boots. So I see a lot of like oversized cardigans and boots when I see like the boy style of the Mori Kei. Yeah, and hats. I didn't even go over hats, and I'm a huge fan of hats. Berets, I love berets. If you have ever seen, if you've been to my Instagram, you see I use berets in almost every single cord that I make, whether it be Mori Kei or Lolita. Boater hats are a lot of fun too. I use boater hats a lot. But you could also use just like tie a piece of lace in your hair. I've done that before too, where like just like braided a piece of lace into my hair, and it just adds like kind of a whimsical air to it. I'm gonna add Instagram / petite Madeline. There we go. All right, so that is the boy style. Let me know if you guys start getting kind of laggy, because I just got a warning that I'm a little laggy. Alright, so, sorry if I keep referring to my notes, I just want to make sure I cover everything. No, I've seen short hair work really well with Mori Kei. It can work for sure. Again, you don't need to have like the bob with the bangs and the brown hair to be a Mori person. It's more about the way you present yourself, and the way that you feel, and the way that you just, your soul is. That's really what's the center of Mori Kei, is just like how you feel. Okay, so next up we have the sister fashions, the sister styles of Mori Kei. So there's three main ones. There is Dark Mori, which is obviously just Mori Kei using dark colors. So it often kind of gives the feel of like a witch, like witchy vibes. If you want some really great ideas for Dark Mori Kei, Katina Witch Hat has a lot of really great coordinates. She also just has great Mori in general and fashion in general, but their dark Mori coordinates are really great. And one person who really like has influenced the dark Mori scene was back in like her Tumblr days. She was Shortcut to the Stars. I don't know how to pronounce her name. I don't know if it's May or Mai, M-A-I. But now she's kind of branched out and done some more like goth alt Strega style. But she was really influential. I mean, especially for me, for my dark Mori days. I do still like to dabble in dark Mori. But it is just like, again, the same silhouette, the same like textures and clothes, but just in a darker, so like blacks, grays, olive greens, that kind of thing. And next up we have Hamake, which means forest, or mountain. Yama means mountain. So it is about looking like someone who is like about to go hiking in the mountains. It features more convenient clothes, so like you'll see more pants and shorts. And it tends to have some brighter colors and patterns than Mori Kei does. So you'll see some more like bright blues and bright greens and bright oranges, some more puffer vests, and just things that would be easier to move around in than like 50 layers of skirts. And then we also have Hamake, which means like ocean or sea or beach, I believe. So this is again like Mori Kei, but features more of like a nautical theme, so has more blues, has more stripes, maybe has more like sailor themes or more like macrame. That's what I see in. I've only tried one Hamake look, and that's the one that's like the top left of the Hamake. But it is super cute. It's not done super often anymore, but you can still find some cute coordinates for Hamake. And then there's also, I didn't feature it here, but I have seen some people play around with other biomes when they are trying to dress Mori K. So they're like, what would a Mori person look like if they were in a desert? Or what would a Mori person look like if they were in the rainforest? So it's just kind of fun to play around with some different ideas of Mori K. And again, like I said, keep drilling into you guys. It's about making it your own. So if you live somewhere where you don't have like redwood forests, and you live somewhere that's more like Arizona, and you have like swallows and lizards and sand and rocky mountains, then like play around with those aspects and create a court. I just happen to think that wearing a ton of layers in Arizona is probably not a ton of fun, but that's just another way that you can play around with it. Okay, so next up, I'm going to show you guys some different places that you can find Mori K. So I'm going to start this off by saying that the best place to find Mori K clothes is a thrift store. Thrift stores and antique stores, vintage stores. Those are going to be hands down the best place to find pieces, because you're going to get them for very affordable. You have a huge volume of things to look through, and you really can use just like normal everyday clothes and just layer them in certain ways to make them work. So for example, what I'm wearing today, I have like this denim dress that I found at Goodwill, and this like kind of crocheted over vest thing that I found at Goodwill also, and my underskirt is from Goodwill, and my shoes were thrifted. So definitely check out thrift stores and consignment stores first. Yes, exactly. It's a very sustainable fashion because Mori people are very conscious of the world around them. So they want to make sure that like what they're doing is going to be good for the forest. You want to make sure what you're doing is good for the forest. So thrift stores first and foremost always. You can also look for pieces on secondhand selling sites. So I know that a lot of thrift stores are probably closed in people's areas, or they just don't feel comfortable going out to thrift stores right now, understandably. But you can try like Depop or Mercari or Poshmark. Those are the places that I tend to look. And once you get a feel for like which brands create clothes that can work for it, then you can easily find pieces. If you search Mori clothes or Mori K or Mori, you're not going to find a lot. So you need to search for things like boho or, I don't know, like Free People or Pretty Angel is a really good clothing brand that makes like Moriable pieces. And then you are supporting just like an individual person who's trying to make a living by selling these clothes. So that's always a plus too. But if you do want to get more into some Mori K specific brands, I have two categories here and two more on the next slide, but we're going to start with the Japanese brands. So Favorite is like hands down the brand that probably every Mori person, even if you don't wear Mori, you've probably seen their like stock pictures or their model pictures. Because when you like, if you even just like Google search Mori, these are the pictures that are going to come up. So Favorite is really great. They are on the pricier side, unfortunately, and they do still create some really great Mori pieces. The only thing about Favorite is you need to be really careful of, what's the word I'm looking for? That's not what I'm looking for. What's the word? I can't words. Replicas is the word I was looking for. Thank you. There are a ton of Favorite replicas out there, especially on Taobao and especially on AliExpress. I have never purchased any, so I don't know what their quality is like. They could be fine quality, but if you are weary of art theft, then definitely make sure you're only buying from Favorite or from secondhand sites that are selling Favorite clothing, and like look for the tag in the clothing. Another Japanese brand that I really love but cannot afford is Pink House. I love Pink House, and they're not a Mori specific brand, but they have been creating some really cute clothes that definitely have that feel. Like these outfits that I posted here. I just like scroll through their Instagram and sob because I can't afford anything. But it's really great inspiration. Like, even if you can't afford it, you can scroll through their Instagram and get ideas for how to create coordinates and what pieces to look for. $500 skirts. Yes, exactly. But so pretty. So pretty. And here are some other Japanese brands that either aren't around anymore or just don't do Mori style anymore. So Wonder Rocket is like the brand that OG Mori girls or Mori people would shop at. Unfortunately, I don't believe they're in business anymore, which is really sad. But you can sometimes still find their things on secondhand sites. Earth Music and Ecology, they were also a kind of a staple for Mori K. And their stuff is still kind of like oversized, simple garments, but I wouldn't say that it's Mori specific. It's just very simple, comfy clothes, which you could use for Mori K, but it's not Mori specific. And then these other two, I'm not going to try to pronounce that French one because my French is awful. And then Furfur, which I have seen featured in Mori K magazines. And again, I don't think that they do Mori K anymore, but these brands do still exist, and they do still make pretty awesome clothes. Again, very expensive, but I mean, people's work is worth what they're charging, I'm sure. And then we can go to Chinese brands. This is just a couple. There's tons out there on Taobao. But some of my favorites are Sweet Dreamer. I love Sweet Dreamer. And I actually found out about Sweet Dreamer because of Lolita. I was trying to find some like really cute, fun, classic Lolita pieces. And then I discovered that they also have some great pieces that would work for Mori K. So they have like these really cute patchwork skirts, and they have really nice like flowy blouses and like over things, and their like hair accessories and their like other accessories like gloves and things. They're all just so beautiful, and they have stolen my heart, and I love them. They're pretty easy to find if you Google Sweet Dreamer on Taobao. They're like the first thing to come up. And then there's this other brand. It took me a lot of finagling to figure out what this brand is called, but when I do a translation, it either comes up as Mamura Mori or Meikun or Mikun. And I will drop a link for them because they're so hard to find. Even just trying to get a copy of this link was like the most ridiculous endeavor in the world. There we go. So they have very Mori specific clothing, some really nice oversized dresses, florals with like nice big collars. They have some nice like patchwork skirts and some blouses with like the embroidery on them. They're very pretty. I have not actually ordered anything from them yet, but I definitely want to. So I can't guarantee quality, so if you do buy something from them and it's terrible, I'm so sorry for misleading you. I did not mean to. But I'm sure it's fine. And they seem like a pretty good brand, just based on what I've seen. So next we can get into, if it wants to change again, I'm being very laggy. Come on. There we go. Okay, so now we have some Western indie brands that you can find on Etsy. So for example, Seashell Anna, I'm not sure how she pronounces her name, makes some really great Mori specific pieces. So bloomers are super cute. Her underskirts and her dresses, some really nice oversized patchwork style with like lots of lace. You can find her on Etsy, Seashell Anna or Seashell Anna. She makes some really great pieces, and her pieces are always one of a kind. So if you see something, you need to grab it. And I made that mistake because there was a really cute pair of bloomers that I really wanted, and now they're gone. And I will never see them again. But she's always coming out with new stuff. You can also follow her on Instagram. I think it's Seashell Mori Anna on Instagram. I'd have to find the link if you guys want it, but you can probably just search Seashell Anna on Instagram and find her. And then there is the Ivory Dolls. I have been following her for a long time. She makes a lot of accessories like scarves and knitted like hand warmers. She likes to use a lot of antique buttons and antique lace on her pieces. And then she also sells really cute just like house goods, like vintage stoneware with like mushroom prints on it and stuff like that. So if you also want to get into like the lifestyle of Mori Kei, you can look for some fun little like aesthetic pieces there. She has really great images on her Instagram, the Ivory Dolls, and you can find her on Etsy at the Ivory Dolls. And then of course, Lily of the Valley. I love Lily of the Valley. I have so many of her pieces. She has really great headpieces, and then her jewelry. She has a lot of really great jewelry that would work, and then her pins, of course. And then if you haven't checked it out already, she did just release the pre-order for her Mycologist notebook tote, which I have already pre-ordered myself. It's just a really cute tote with little mushrooms on it, and it's the most Mori thing that you could possibly ever like buy. So definitely check out her website, which is I think lotbdesigns.com. You can see her Instagram, which is also Lotb Designs, and then you can shop her Etsy, which is Sakura Fairy. That's where she has a lot of her really unique like accessories and like I think she does made to order things on her Etsy also. Oh, her hats, her boater hats. She does like the customized boater hats. So great, love it. Next up we have Rag and Bone, which would be represented by the lower left-hand picture here. I've never purchased anything from Rag & Bone, but I was just looking through their stuff, and it's like a lot of the patterns are really great, and the silhouettes are really great, and just like the overall feel of her collection, the way she takes her pictures and styles things, definitely has a very Mori feel to it. So you can find them at Rag & Bone, just like it's listed there on Etsy. And then there's another company called Primitive Fringe, which focuses mostly on selling sewing tutorials and sewing patterns for like nice flowy patchwork style garments. They do have some things that are like ready-made, not a whole ton, but some things. But if you really wanted to venture into sewing your own Mori Kei but don't really know where to start with like proportions and like shapes and whatnot, you could definitely check out the patterns that they have for sale. Again, I haven't purchased anything from them, but I'm just admiring from afar. And then lastly, this isn't a Mori specific brand, but I discovered this company called Little Women Atelier on Instagram, and they just have really nice, simple, loose flowing dresses, and they have so many cute aprons, and I love aprons, and I think aprons could work really great with Mori Kei because they have like just like the lace and the layers and the flowy, and it's very cute. They are on like the pricier end, not prohibitively so, but it's because everything I believe is made by hand by a small company, so of course it's going to be on the pricier side and worth it. And they have great colors too, so they use a lot of very earthy colors. And then I wanted to also do kind of like a Black and Indigenous people of color spotlight. So I have a few shops here that I found on this list. Where is it? This one. Drop it in the chat for you guys. So this is the list that, of course, everyone has seen by now, I hope. But Most of these brands aren't Mori specific, but have Moriable pieces. So Moss Badger has some really adorable, or has had, I don't know if they have any now, but has had some really adorable, like, rosettes. So I zoomed in, of course, on this mushroom one, because that's very, very Mori K. I don't know if it exists anymore, but if they make it again, I would definitely buy one. Fantastic Grimm has these really great antique looking pieces, which is perfect for Mori K because Mori people love antique pieces. These flowers are really nice. And then Milk Ribbon is the one who made this wooden mushroom brooch. So I think that that is also a really great Mori piece. Like, I love wooden brooches with Mori K, and this mushroom one is just so cute. Miss Candy Holic is the one who made the adorable Gingham Mask. So this is kind of like verging more on cottagecore, but I think that there can be some overlap between Mori K and cottagecore, and everyone needs to remember to wear their mask. Wear your mask. So find a really cute Mori K mask and wear it, and you will be adorable. Deco and Dice made the moss terrarium rings, which are, of course, it's moss. I forgot to mention moss earlier. Moss is another very common motif. We love moss. So that is a great Mori piece. I think they also have some really adorable, like, fruit slice earrings and necklaces, and their honeycomb, like, resin earrings are super cute too. Like, it'll add that, like, quirk factor. That is perfect for Mori K. And then lastly, there is, this one wasn't on the list that I dropped the link in the chat. But Lloyd Brown Company is one that I found on Instagram. They are a First Nations Canadian beading company, and they make these adorable strawberry and lemon earrings. They're like just so, if I had my ears pierced, man, I would be all over those. But I unfortunately, I think they're sold out right now, but definitely, like, find them, and I think Lloyd Brown Co. is their Instagram also. If you find them and follow them, then you can see if they do a restock. They had this other, like, super cute pale pink strawberry necklace that was just so cute. That one might have been a one-of-a-kind piece. So whoever got it is, like, super lucky. Mori K is fashion first. Cottagecore is just an aesthetic. Yeah. I guess, yeah. Okay, so next up, oops, it's because I dropped a thing in the chat. Let's get back to here. All right, so the next most important part of Mori K, besides fashion, is the lifestyle. So I actually find that a lot of people find Mori K not through the clothes themselves, but through the lifestyle. Like, they find Mori K because their soul is just, like, drawn to it. And when they do find about Mori K, they're like, I've been a Mori person my whole life, and I didn't even know it, and now I found these clothes that can help me express the way I feel in the world. So that's kind of how I have felt too when I found it. I was like, oh my gosh, there is a fashion that helps me just, like, feel the way I am on the inside and just show it to everyone else. So Mori lifestyle activities, I guess you'd call them, include things like crafting, like crochet, knitting, sewing, needlepoint, making your own, like, hair accessories. Of course, a Mori person is not complete without their camera. Mori people especially really love instant cameras, so like an Instax or a Polaroid. Maybe that's just me. I just really like those. But we always love to go around and take pictures of just, like, the littlest thing. We're like, ooh, that's a pretty flower. Let me go take a picture of that. Or, ooh, look at this mushroom. I'm gonna go take a picture of that. And it's just, like, our way of, like, showing the world the things that we see that maybe other people don't. So we like to have the ability to do that. Something that a lot of people don't really talk about in Mori K, but I'm sure Mori people do, is gaming. Like, those really fun, slow games, like Animal Crossing or Stardew Valley or What's the other one? That's Stardew Valley was like based off of Harvest Moon. Or like really slow, fun mobile games. So yeah, I think that that's something that Mori people definitely do, but because it's not like forest, people don't really talk about it. But I mean, we love to take like buses and trains everywhere, so when we're not looking out the window, we're like playing a fun little game. Yeah. Another thing that I have noticed in the Mori K community is an affinity for really quirky instruments. So like ocarinas or forests and tea. Catherine is her name. She plays the Seagull Merlin, which has this great blend of a sound that is like a mandolin mixed with Appalachian folk music. It's amazing. But it's, yeah, just finding some quirky little instrument and learning how to play it, playing like some folk songs or just some like simple little songs. It's a nice, fun way to pass the time. Yes, I own 2 ocarinas and I suck at playing them. I was trying to learn a bunch of like Skyrim songs or like some traditional Irish songs, and it's hard. Like, how do you play it and not drop it? And it's ceramic, so if I drop it, it's gonna be really sad. Oh, a hurdy-gurdy! Those things are amazing. If you've ever been to the Dickens Fair in San Francisco, they have a person who plays a hurdy-gurdy, and it's like this crazy thing where he like cranks it, and I don't even know I don't know how it works, but it sounds so cool. If anyone knows where to find a hurdy-gurdy, they probably sell them at the Dickens Fair, but they're probably like way out of my price range. Speaking of music, just listening to music in general, specifically like folk music or just like really soft, like atmospheric music, especially in analog forms. So like a record player or a tape player or things like that. It just kind of gives it more of a like a connection with the music because you're like taking care of the record and like placing it on the thing. And there's something about that connection with the music that really helps us like just feel more present, I guess. So I don't think that there is any Mori specific music. There is, I don't think they're still making music. But the Popoyans, I think is how you pronounce it. They make the best, like, chill, just cute music. I'm gonna drop their name here so you can search for them. Popoyans. I think that's how you spell it. Record players are so complicated. Old ones are. I had an old record player where like you had to drop the needle just right to get it to work, otherwise it wouldn't work. Now we have a new one and it's totally not aesthetic, but it works, so I'm happy about that. Yeah, nature walks. You can like plug in and listen to some really cute music while you're on your little nature walk. Especially if when you're on a nature walk and there's a bunch of like terrible noise, like people running by blasting their own music, or just you can hear traffic noise in the background. Maybe it's just where I live because I live kind of like in a weird merge of city and country. It's kind of hard to escape like the loud trucks driving by or the people who want to like blast their music on their boombox when they're just walking down the trail. So sometimes plugging in and like listening to some soothing music, even when you're out in nature, is a way to just like enjoy your experience. And I found that sometimes listening to like really intense fantasy music, it makes everything feel like a journey. Like you're on this epic quest, like going to the grocery store. Like, I need to go bring some food sustenance back for my people. So just like little things like that just make your day. So speaking also of outdoors, just being outdoors is an important part of Mori lifestyle. So like going on a picnic, bringing a thermos of your favorite tea or coffee outside to enjoy, reading your book underneath a blanket next to a tree. Just some way to like feel connected with your environment and with nature. But also, Mori people love exploring cities too. So we love to go to really cute little cafes, like little local cafes where they have like homemade baked goods and like special blends of tea, and just like sitting down with a book or with a game and just enjoying it. And then also exploring, of course, antique stores and thrift shops is a lot of fun, because then you can like find new pieces. And it's just it's a whole like exploration. That's really what Mori Kei is about, is exploring the world that you're in and noticing like the little things in the world that you're in, while also exploring yourself and the way you feel in the world. And lastly, I just like to say this, because I am also a very like gung-ho public transport person, but I love taking the train. The train is so much fun. I love taking buses and I love taking trains, because you just get to sit back and relax and take in the scenery. Like, even if you're going through like some grimy downtown area, you can be like, what is that restaurant? That place looks really interesting and I really want to try it out. So if you're driving, you're so focused on like you're driving that you're not really paying attention to like what's going on around you. So trains and buses are a lot of fun, but also bicycles. More people like to ride bikes places, and again, it's just a way to be out in nature while you're trying to get from point A to point B. And walking, of course. That's why we wear the comfy shoes. And that's why we don't like summer. So yeah, tea, coffee, eating things, eating tasty treats and baked goods, and baking baked goods, also making really pretty cute little cakes or like scones or whatever. It's just, again, just slowing down and taking time to do something. It's very important in the Mori lifestyle. Yes, I love I take the train when I go to my Lolita meetups in San Francisco, and the train ride down to San Francisco is just so beautiful. You see parts of my county that you cannot see on the roads, because the roads don't go that way. The train goes like behind these mountains where there's like wetlands and like grazing cows, and it's so pretty. And I had never seen it until the train started going through there. So it's so pretty, and I wish more people would take public transit, especially in the United States, because people are very anti-public transit in the US. Or not anti-public transit, pro-car. And I wish that we had a public transit system like they have in Europe or Japan, where it's like the main way to get from point A to point B, because things run a lot more smoothly that way. The dream. Smart train, yeah. Alright, so next we're gonna go to places that you can find inspiration for Mori Kei. So there's several different places where you can find inspiration. Of course, YouTube is a great place. One major YouTuber who's very active right now is Miwako, who I think is in the chat right now. If she's still here. Hi, Miwako! She does a lot of lookbooks, haul videos. I think she's done a couple of vlogs. So yeah, a lot of Mori YouTubers kind of like come and go. And it's really sad, because when you're looking for new Mori content, it's like, okay, there's the same stuff that I've watched last year. So what am I gonna watch now? So Miwako is a blessing to our community, because she's been making a lot of new things. And there is a YouTuber called The Menagerie, who is they do covers of Dragon Age music, I believe. But they do these super beautiful music videos, and they're like wearing Mori Kei and wearing animal masks, and like the owl plays the flute, and the deers play the lute, and the fox plays the violin, and the rabbit plays the harp, and it's so cute. And I'm pretty sure it's all one person who does everything, and they're super talented. But I just like I can't watch their videos sometimes because it just makes me cry because it's so beautiful, like the music and the visuals, and I'm just like, I cannot believe this perfection exists in the world. Yeah, they do vocals too. So I actually haven't gone and looked at their vocals video, but their vocals YouTube, but just like these instrumental covers are just so inspiring. So inspiring. I love them. Another place to get inspiration is, yeah, Miwako! Another place to get inspiration is Instagram, of course, through the hashtags Mori K, or you can look it up via the Japanese spelling, which is Mori Girl. And the Mori K tag used to be a lot better, in my opinion. It used to be a lot more relevant. And now it's kind of a lot of things that aren't Mori K, unfortunately. And of course, like, I always say that it's Mori K is Mori K, just make it your own. But it ends up with things that are just very not Mori K at all. Or either that or people trying to sell clothing. So a lot of clothing sales. Which is great. Like, if you want to support, like, these people who are selling clothes, it's great. But when I'm trying to get inspiration for coordinates and all I see is, like, blouse, 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 it gets kind of frustrating. The Mori K tag in Japanese tends to be a little bit better. Or the Mori Girl tag in Japanese tends to be a little bit better. Yeah. Mori Lifestyle is another really great place to check. And I wonder if the Mori K tag is getting kind of spammed right now because of the cottagecore trend. Which is great. People are finding Mori K because of cottagecore, and that's amazing because we need more Mori people, please. So I'm not going to be too mad about it, I guess. But yeah, I just wish it was a better place for inspiration. You can still get inspiration there. But I actually find, I didn't put it on here for some reason, I find Tumblr to be a really great place to find inspiration because the Mori K tag is very Mori-centric specifically. And speaking of Tumblr, there is that I didn't get a chance to put on here because I didn't know about it until I had already exported my presentation. This Mori K resources Tumblr, which is still active. The sad thing about Tumblr is that a lot of people aren't active on it anymore. So you can still get inspiration if you haven't been on there before. But once you've been on there for a while, you're going to start seeing the same things over and over again. Some people are still active, but it's not as active as it used to be, unfortunately. And another place to get inspiration is this blog called I Don't Know Much, But I'm Learning. And this is by Forests and Tea, aka Catherine, who has been a Mori girl for a long time. I think her blog dates back to like 2012 or 2013. And she has a lot of really great content if you want to learn about the history or if you want to learn about sister styles or just like challenges and things like that. Great place to get info and get inspiration. And her Instagram, Forests and Tea, she's also like an OG Mori girl. Like, she wears like the very classic style of Mori girl. Yeah. And I'm running low on time, so I'm going to try to hurry up. Go. I'm so laggy. Go. There we go. Okay, so the last thing that I want to talk about is our Mori K community. There are a few places on Facebook. Mori Girl Buys, Swap, Sell is where you can find some used clothing or where Mori K brands will drop their new releases, like indie brands. Closet of the Forest is kind of like Closet of Frills, where people can post their outfits, outfits of the day, their coordinates. International Lolita Mori Fashion and Lifestyle is another group that's just kind of like a discussion group. I don't think that they're super active anymore. I still see some posts sometimes, but they're not as active as they used to be, unfortunately. There's also a Mori K Amino, which is really fun because there people can share their coordinates, they can share their recipes, they can share like challenges, and They have a wiki where you can like learn about different substyles and things like that. This Amino used to be very active like a year or two ago, and the moderator has kind of fallen off the radar, and people are still posting, but because the moderator is not updating the feed as much, it just looks kind of stagnant, and that's something that myself and one of the previous admins is trying to work on getting that back up, so that we can have that outlet again, because Amino is really great because it's very photo focused, so you can get a real good feel for like outfits and lifestyle. Discord. The Discord server is so active and it makes me so happy. So more people kind of bounce around. I feel like we see the group moving somewhere else and we're like, okay, we'll go over there too. So it was like Facebook, and then it was Amino, and now it's Discord. So Discord's great because we have a lot of different channels based on like outfits where you can go shopping, recipes. There's a Animal Crossing like recipes sharing, or like if someone's doing a DIY, you can go get that DIY. That kind of thing. So the Mori Discord is great. Let me drop that in there as well. So that's the Discord link. So if you want to join, go ahead. I did ask people if it was okay if I dropped the link for everyone, and they said yes. So go ahead and join if you are interested. And then lastly, meetups. There aren't any Mori K meetups, unfortunately. I have seen some pictures from Indonesia of Mori K meetups, and I get so jealous. It's so great to see all these Mori people in one place, and I really want that to become a thing. But we need more Mori people to do that. We were talking about in the Discord doing like a virtual meetup, maybe, perhaps in the future sometime. So that's going to be a lot of fun. But hopefully once we do get to the point where we can start meeting in person again, trying to set up some sort of Mori K meetup within your area would be a lot of fun, and I hope it happens someday. Alright, so that, I believe, brings me to the end of my presentation, and we have just a few minutes. A couple minutes! So if you have any questions, go ahead and ask me in the chat, and I will try to the best of my ability to answer your questions. I'm gonna move this so I'm more focused on you guys. Here we go. So questions, it can be questions about lifestyle, or there are some people who definitely wear it for just the fashion, and you don't need to be a Mori person 24/7 to wear Mori K. Like, I go to metal concerts. I'm not wearing Mori K when I go to metal concerts, but I do go to metal concerts. I love playing, like, violent RPG games. Not because of the violence, they just happen to be violent, but it's not very Mori K to play these, like, shooter RPG games. So you don't need to be, it's like the whole idea with, like, the Lolita lifestyle. You don't need to be a Lolita all the time. You don't need to be a Mori person all the time. There are definitely different aspects to people's personalities, and to say that they just fit into this one box is unrealistic. Yeah. Yeah, join us! Join us, please! We need more Mori people. How often are animals a motif in Mori K? I love woodland creatures and have prints in Lolita, but Mori seems easier to wear more frequently. Again, it's really about what you're comfortable with. So if you are more comfortable wearing like solids or more like normie patterns, because that's just easier to wear, then go ahead. You can add little animal motifs if you want to. Like, my cord has no animal motifs except for my one deer pin. So you don't have to do animal motifs, it just happens to be something that Mori people love, animals. So we like to include them in our clothing. Does Mori K influence your Lolita? Of course! I actually found Lolita because of Mori K. So I was looking up just different Mori K outfits, and I found, I think it was the video from the Hainuli release of the deer one, Enchanted Fawn. And I was like, what is... I had heard of Lolita, but the last time I looked at Lolita, it was in, like, 2006, and it looks a lot different now. So when I found that video of the of Enchanted Fawn, I was like, what is this? What is this magical, like, poofy dress that, like, looks like it could be, like, a Mori K theme, but it's, like, so much more over the top and magical. And that's actually how I refound Lolita. So I do tend to bring my Mori K into Lolita, because I love, like, country Lolita. I love, like, I have a ton of deer print things. I love deer prints. I like to do underskirts. And I'm super into aprons right now. I try to do some aprons and some capelets and some deer-themed things. And my wooden pins I wear for both Mori K and Lolita. So yeah, definitely. And there have been, like, crossover styles. Like, I just learned the other day that there was a thing called Mori Gyaru. I didn't know that was a thing. But that was a thing, apparently. Let me look and see if I missed anything. Yeah, but overall, yeah, definitely, I tend to mix my pieces, for sure. Is it unusual to have shorter skirts in Mori? I have seen some coordinates that do feature shorter skirts, but when people do that, they tend to do that because they want to show off, like, some funky socks or tights that they're wearing. So I don't generally see a lot of bare legs in Mori K, but shorter skirts to show off some, like, socks or leg warmers I have seen, yes. So you can do it. Again, it's just a matter of creating that feel. It's really about the feel of the clothes. I don't wear many animal motifs. Do knee-length skirts work? Yeah. I'm assuming that means I'm pretty short, which, if you have not met me, I am 5 feet tall. I am short AF. So maxi skirts generally don't work for me, or if they do, I have to, like, pull them up to, like, my rib cage so they're not dragging on the ground. So a lot of my things are, like, I wear a longer skirt with a shorter skirt, with a shorter skirt, with a dress, with a top, with a vest. Oh yeah, you did say short, okay. All right, if there's not any more questions, I have gone just a few minutes over my time. So I really appreciate you guys coming to my chat and learning about Mori K. Can you layer less things if... Oh yeah, definitely. I've seen some very simple where it's just dress, vest. Done. Good. And that's Mori K for sure. Yeah, so anyway, thank you for that last question. The next panel coming up is Voices in Kawaii Riot, which is all about, I believe, the activism in J-Fashion, which is going to be super interesting, and I'm very excited to watch that. So thank you again so much for coming to my panel. This is the first time I've ever done anything like this. So thank you for bearing with me. Yeah, so I'll see you guys in the chat for the next panel, probably, if you guys are going to go. So thank you so much. Bye!